the herrings. There were 3 girls, was a crew, according to the crew. There were 2 gutters and a packer. 2 gutted the herring and 1 packed the herring into the barrels. And a good day, I've heard them saying that they could gut 10 crans of herring, that's 40 baskets of herring, in one day.
Well, the girls went out from Port Seton and followed the boat?
No.
Never from here.
No.
Never from here.
Anstruther.
Anstruther
And
and Celadec,
St. Mornings.
St. Mornings.
Bentonville.
and
All
right
around there.
right up after that, up to Lerwick, even right to Lerwick and Stornoway. Stornoway girls used to come across the
And then in Bucky.
Bucky, Finduchty. All the North Country girls went to like full of the fishing right round from Yarmouth, from Shetlands right down to Yarmouth, and across the Isle of Man and up the west coast.
And why did they not do it from here?
No, the girls couldn't do it.
The girls,
There were no men here. There were no fish buyers. You see, you had to have a fish buyer.
the fish buyers,
And he
engaged the girls, the fish buyers. But the girls here mostly went to the fields, strawberries
and vegetables.
and vegetables. A lot of girls went from here, and they used to walk from here to Longdidry, 3 miles, and start their day's work after that.
I remember my first full week at the sea. Like 1952, we had a good week, and the men got £12, and I got 6.
That's a fair amount.
Big money then.
Yeah.
What I mean, if you think about it, my chums that went to be joiners or carpenters, they were on 28 shillings.
£6.
£6, aye. Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Felt great about it. We always read. The only thing is his wages weren't as sure. See, next week could be £3. And next week, then if you get bad weather, you didn't get any.
And who's buying the fish? Is it shops or
it
is
went
it
into New Haven, and Port Seton boats was always Johnston.
Right.
Johnston was who was a Cockenzie family. Instead of being fishermen, the old boy went away to be a salesman, because they started taking fish for the pier. Once they started getting more fish, they couldn't sell enough on the pier, so they took it with horse and cart.
Right.
Into New Haven, and they were there were 6 or 7, 8 salesmen in New Haven.
Right.
But most of the Cockenzie fleet worked with Johnston in New Haven.
And would he buy the fish off you and then resell it, or no?
He sold it.
He sold it.
New Haven was classed as an inland market.
Right.
Your fish was sold as per boat.
Aye.
Like, so you go to, when you went to Aberdeen, you landed, if you was U-turn, if you were first in on the market, you were first boat to be sold the next morning.
Right.
And it went right through.
So it went boat by boat?
It went boat by boat. And salesmen came doing boat by boat. But in New Haven, the fish went into New Haven. And what they did was they stacked the fish up in their species. Haddocks. Haddocks would be long here. So the buyers, when they went in the morning, they could see, there's 100 bucks of haddocks. But there's 400 bucks of whites. And then, whenever the market started at 7 o'clock, there were 6 or 7 salesmen shouting, what are you giving me for this morning? And this was more or less how it went.
Right.
So that's why I thought there was a lot of fish in. The price came
Come
down
down a
to
bit.
minimum price. Like,
So he would sell the fish
he
for
would
you?
sell. Now, he would sell them nearly, the men that had fish vans in Port Seton. When I was at the school just after the war, there were 35 different wee fish houses
Really?
in Port Seton. Well, they would go in, the owner of the van, he would go into New Haven and he would buy 2 boxes or 3 boxes of fish.
Right.
And he would either bring them out in his van and ditch them.
Aye.
But if he, some of them went away through the West Coast, to Livingston and Armadale and all these kind of. These men, they went into the market and bought the fish. And what they did was they had their tickets on them with their name.
Aye.
Most of them was their nicknames.
Right.
They put them down.
Aye.
And their nickname went down. And then the lorry that had taken the fish in, they would bring them back out and drop them at the...
Oh, would they?
And they were dropped there, and most times it was a wife
Aye.
and another couple of women.
Right.
They would...
Prepare them.
Aye,
Fillet them and all.
Aye, fillet them. They would fillet them. And when he came home, the fish was ready for him going out the next morning.
As a Wester, treated with linseed oil, pair of sea boots made of rubber, sea boot hose, boy long stockings, 1 jersey, sometimes what they called a pepper and salt jersey, which was a white jersey with black marks on it, 1 canvas smock, sort of pinky brown colour, which came down to your waist, and a pair of heavy moleskin trousers, a pair of bib overalls, and I wore one of my father's old bonnets, a heavy scarf which in bad weather prevented water going down inside the neck of the oilskin frock. Heavy gloves weren't worn in those days as they are now.
What the butcher at home, you just ordered the beef for a week from the butcher, and the butcher would go down on the Saturday afternoon, because men were all away by then. We didn't work Saturday afternoons.
Right.
We worked in the morning. You repaired the nets, cleaned the engines, filled ice.
Right.
Filling ice was a big job. And he would take some of the boards off and he would dig a hole and put the beef in.
Oh.
So that was your beef.
Fresh,
The beef was kept fresh.
Aye.
So I got rid of my cooking, I looked after the engine. So I'll tell you something, some of my pals were doing the same job after the war, and no, that'd be before the war. And we used to go, perhaps if we're in Ross early, perhaps go to cinema. And if you sat down in some seats, people used to move away.
You were smelling paraffin.
I think if you scratched a match, we went up in flames. I was smelling of paraffin.
Oh, crumbs.
Religion played quite a large part in the lives of the fishing community of Cockenzie and Port Seton. Although the population I believe to have been around 2,000 pre-war, there were 3 churches and 4 religious meeting places, no Catholic church. 2 of the meetings have since gone, the Bethel and the Close Brethren. 3 churches and 2 meeting halls still exist. At one time I had the opportunity of reading some letters which crew members of a herring vessel from Yarmouth sent to families at home. In every letter there were references to God, phrases like, God willing, we'll have a good drive, that means a good haul this week, or perhaps God will see his way to let us have better weather. The particular boat these men sailed in was lost. Perhaps that is why the letter survived, perhaps in memory.
So, would you have anybody who didn't do anything because they were superstitious?
Well, nobody whistled in a boat.
Nobody whistled in the boat.
No, that's true. Nobody whistled in a boat. And everything had to go clockwise.
Right.
They didn't like to go against the clock.
Yeah.
Always had to go clockwise. That was one other thing that they were a wee bit superstitious about, you know.
So what does that connect to?
I don't know really, but you're going the wrong way, laddie, Ken, you'd say, whatever I was doing.
Oh, so they'd notice that, yeah.
You had to stir the soup that way.
So it didn't matter if you put an oily dishclout in, so long as you stirred it
That's
in the
right.
right direction.
I told you about that, you've got that down somewhere.
I have got that down.
In the harbour,
Well,
what it used to be like.
it used to be like, it was parked with the herring boats, landing the herring. And the women used to thin them in the barrels with this coarse salt. And they would be exported.
And was this the fishermen's wives, or was it?
Oh, well, it would be some of the families and that too, you see. And then there used to be the potato boats coming, the cargo boats, and take the potatoes to London by sea. I remember there was one called Ben Moore, but that's done away with now.
Would you say you've seen many changes in Port Seton, Cockenzie as kind of harbour? I mean, have you seen?
The harbour hasn't changed any. The only thing is now the harbour's never used by the fleet. The Port Seton fleet's never all in the harbour at one time. We thought at the centenary we might be able to get the whole fleet in the harbour. It would have been something to see, but it didn't materialise. The cost of bringing the boats all the road up, and then you had boats scattered about to different places that it wasn't viable to bring all the boats down.
If you're based in a shallow harbour like this, the guys with the huge big boats, they couldn't use your harbour.
No.
So they can't come down.
No.
So that keeps it for you.
It keeps the fourth. But the fourth has a restriction on 55 feet overall length.
What does it? Right.
Aye.
Right.
Because that goes back from years and years ago. It used to be you couldn't fish for fish, white fish, if the boat was any more than 50 feet long.
Right.
And then when the boats, that were the ringnet boats, when they needed to go to the trawl for prawns,
Yeah.
they got the thing extended to 55 feet.
Right.
So that's how the big boats can't get inside the May Island.
Yeah.
They can't get inside the May Island because it's a 55 feet.
You know, there was actually a small fleet of fishing boats belonging to the Navy in Port Seton.
No.
Oh yes, the East Pier was banned for fishermen. They had a 4-inch gun there as well.
Was that to give them food?
No, they were men spotting and patrolling the Firth. There must have been about a dozen vessels painted grey lying over the other side, and there was a hut, which was their office, actually. And there was also a 4-inch gun, which was manned there.
So where exactly was that?
Where the gun was.
Where the
you know the long shed?
Yeah.
And then there's the garage.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was in there, I think.
Oh, actually in our harbour.
Oh yes,
Oh,
and I
right.
think you can actually see part of where it had been, the circular bit where it was.
Right.
There was a 4-inch gun there. They used to fire practice shots.
Forth and roundabout was rich in fish at that time, was it?
No, I never caught many fish in the Forth. Very, very little. No, I think you could count it on one hand how many fish I had. Many shots of fish you put it down as. No, we more or less we stopped working inside the Forth, other than for about 6 weeks, the month of December. November and December we worked the mouth of the Forth at the Bassrock, between the Bassrock and the May Island, because you get a lot of bad weather, northwest winds then, and there used to be quite a wee bit of fish came into the Forth at that bit, so we did a wee bit of fishing. I would say anything for 6 to 8 weeks. That we always knew that it was finished after the turn of the year. We maybe got another week or a fortnight out of it, but that was the lot.
When I started to see that as the first thing you learnt is what the different islands in the Forth were.
Right.
The flashing lights.
Right.
Fidra was 4 flashes.
Was it?
And May Island was 1 flash. One flash every 10 seconds.
Right.
The Bassrock was 6 flashes.
Right.
Every 20 or 30 seconds. St Tab's light was 3 flashes.
Right.
Every 20 seconds. Okay?
So you could tell just by flashes.
1, 2, 3. Oh, that's so when you seen a light, you started counting 100, 200,
right.
300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. Then 10. That's in the island.
Yeah.
That's how it. But he knew all the lights, inch keys was the different and in and out. So he knew where you were with the light. The big boat that went to Yarmouth fishing, she was 1933. She was scuttled and put on the beach down at Lulnidry, the sands at Lulnidry, and she's still there yet.
Really?
There's just the ribs left.
Aye.
In fact, there's just half of the ribs left. There's just some of the ribs just above the water and no more.
Aye.
But the stem used to be up,
right.
And the stern post would be up. But the folk taking bits of the timbers off them now as a keepsake when making different stuff out of the thing.